It's 9 a.m. on day one of a professional training session. The facilitator opens the floor, and the room responds with absolute, uncomfortable silence. You can feel the tension. There's the guarded posture, the nervous throat clearing, and that specific shared fear of being the first person to speak. This diagram shows the communication process. In a silent room, the loop breaks at the green feedback arrow, stalling communication. Learners often have a traditional schooling mindset, expecting to be the purple receiver box, a passive endpoint that absorbs messages without providing feedback. The standard icebreaker, asking everyone to state their name and job, usually makes things worse. Instead of starting a conversation, it forces people into a performance, which only increases the anxiety in the room. This is a critical hurdle for any facilitator. Competency-based training requires an immediate assessment of what the participants already know, but you can't assess a room that isn't talking. To fix this, you have to abandon the standard introduction. You need a targeted intervention that resets the room psychology in the first 15 minutes. The Competency-Based Training Toolkit includes official opening activities designed specifically to dismantle these social barriers the moment the training begins. The first strategy is option A, the slip of paper method. First, every participant writes down a few short, recognizable facts about themselves on a slip of paper, but they keep it anonymous. Folded slips are pooled into a central bowl. Participants draw one at random and read it aloud. Working as a team, the room guesses who is described, continuing until everyone is identified. This works because it removes the pressure of self-promotion. It turns the introduction into a collective mystery, which naturally forces participants to observe and interact with each other. For a different room dynamic, the toolkit provides option B, the small group plenary. The room is broken into small groups of 2 or 3 strangers. In these smaller settings, pressure drops as participants share their backgrounds. When regathering, instead of introducing themselves, they introduce their partner to the wider group. Option B leverages basic human empathy. It replaces the anxiety of bragging about yourself with the much safer, more supportive task of advocating for a peer. Compare the current energy of this room to where we started. The silence is gone. People are leaning in, actively talking across the tables. By running these activities, the trainer has repaired the communication mechanics. As this diagram shows, the feedback loop is now unbroken and cycling continuously. This establishes several adult learning principles immediately. It creates a safe space, encourages people to learn from their peers, and builds directly on the participants' own experiences. This initial energy sets the engagement baseline for the entire training. Once that loop is established, it stays active for the rest of the module. The facilitator is no longer an intimidating authority figure to be listened to. They have become a guide within a shared experience. Using the right interactive tool bridges the gap between silent strangers, turning a disconnected room into a functional learning network.